Welcome to Cisco Tech Beat, the podcast that explores the people and stories behind what inspires the newest innovation. I'm your host, AB, and I'm really thrilled to welcome our very own Tim Coogan, SVP of Global Partner Sales. Tim, welcome.
Thank you, AB.
So glad you're here. I want to talk about your background because you have a really incredible and diverse sales background, leading teams and driving customer experience, strategy. So how did that play into your now being promoted to lead global partner sales? And what's your experience been like in this new role?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I do come from a very heavy sales background, but I think we're all in a heavy sales background.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that, you need to read up a little bit because that is our job, is to help sell, to help our colleagues sell, to help our partners sell. So I think that's what we were looking for, to bring that kind of DNA, maybe a bit more of that into the partner org.
Sure, makes sense. And I want to talk about something that I've heard you say with regard to how we think about ourselves at Cisco and partnerships. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were talking about a shift in perspective of not being a tech company that happens to have partners, but actually be a partner company that happens to make great technology. If that's correct, what is the distinction that's important about that?
Well, I think it's important, the linearity of it isn't what's important. It's the way you think about it. So we're very proud of the technology that we build and ideate and bring to market, but it falls short. It's just a warehouse full of things that we don't have the partners to help see that vision become reality. And so if we focus on the partner aspect and partner with our partners, but partner with our customers to help technology be part of their go forward, that's really who we are. We're about bringing people together, and we have the technology to make that vision a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we at Cisco know that partnerships are so important.
Right.
And on that note, kind of just to ride the wave a little longer, because partnerships are such a cornerstone of how we achieve success at Cisco, are there any stories that you can think of or any recent things that show how our partnerships are driving incredible customer outcomes?
Well, I mean, I think there's tons, but let me think about some of the work that we did in my old job leading U.S. commercial. We partnered with various members of the ecosystem to bring stadiums to life. So we bring technology to bear at NFL stadiums, NBA and Major League Baseball stadiums in a way that we wouldn't have done 5 years ago because we simply would have sold product to a partner or an integrator that put it into a stadium. We are now working with the owners of the stadiums, the teams, and this diverse set of partners to bring an experience to life that changes the way we watch sporting events.
Right.
And that's so different than it was just 3 or 4 years ago.
That's awesome. And I know we're going to touch upon sports later because I heard a rumor that you might enjoy sports. So
I do.
We'll get to that in a minute. So we talked briefly about your transition to the role of leading global partner sales. And I know sometimes there are challenges, things that you may not have expected. What are some of those unexpected challenges that you may have experienced right when you started taking this role on?
Yeah, it's funny. I've told this to a few people. I was blissfully unaware of how sophisticated the ecosystem is behind an order. And what I mean by that is, in my old role, get a PO from customer to partner, and then everything should work quickly and it should book in 5 minutes.
Right.
What it takes to govern and be compliant with how you do that was something I wasn't aware of. And I'm very proud of what we do, but I also think it's an opportunity for us to be easier to do business with within Cisco, and then also be easier to do business with our partners.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said something about cultivating that, it's a relationship. It's not, our partnerships are not just kind of like, we work with somebody and it's just a simple relationship. It's really a deep trusting relationship.
Yeah. We do a very complicated thing, but I think that the effort that we're putting into it, I think the Cisco 360 program is a great example of taking what could be amazingly complex and making it simpler.
That's true. I mean, it's good to be thorough, but we also want to make sure that it's a simplified experience for the end user and for the partners. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, AI is a talking point these days, and it's changing the landscape of how we do business. How does that transfer over to how we work with partners? Is the AI landscape changing the way we actually form partnerships or work with our partners to help them achieve their end result?
Oh, I think it absolutely is. And again, I'm going to go back to Cisco 360. What we've built into the program around AI, the partner locator, powered by AI, our performance experience platform, the PXP platform, powered by AI, trying to bring the advantages of AI to our partners on a daily basis, I think is really, really key. And it makes me think of the recent AI summit that we did.
Absolutely.
G2 and Chuck hosted the second annual. And that was that concept of AI as a teammate, not as a tool. we're adopting that same mentality in the partner organization. AI is not a tool,
Right.
but it becomes a teammate to our internal sellers, to our portfolio sellers, and to our partner sellers,
Right.
to where they can leverage it as a teammate, not as a tool.
Got that. And I wasn't at the AI summit, but I had a lot of colleagues go, and I heard that the energy for this round was even more palpable. I mean, did you feel that at all, or?
It was off the charts, and I would recommend everybody listening in today to either in pieces or in whole take advantage of that content that's available. The lineup was stellar, start to finish.
Oh, incredible lineup! Yeah.
The only thing I would warn you is it won't make you feel smarter right away, because it certainly didn't make me feel smarter. But I did come out of that day, I think, more educated and more aware of the opportunity at hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I learned a lot of stuff, just things I didn't know that existed, certain technologies, what companies are doing. And it seems like everyone is really trying to work together to create some kind of an ecosystem, despite the fact that we're different companies, really trying to help people in general.
Yeah, there was also that concept of, it's not about winners and losers. It's not a net zero game. I think it was going to require teamwork and cooperation in a very different way, because it's when we all work together as a combined ecosystem. I think that's really where the power comes in.
I totally agree. Of course, in your role, you're spending a lot of time with partners.
Right.
What are some things that partners might be worried about that people don't know, or that they're hoping that we can help them with, that you're thinking is going to happen in the future?
So I think partners share some of the same concerns that our customers share. It's, can they react quickly enough? Can they take advantage of the opportunity at hand? And I think that's where they look to Cisco to help. Because think about it, what we do is complex. Our portfolio has got a lot of depth to it.
Oh, yeah.
But think about what our partners do. Our partners cover, in most cases, more than one OEM. So the complexity of their infrastructure is exponentially more than ours.
Right.
So where we can bring simplicity and a sense of consistency to what they do and help them navigate that, I think that's really key. But so I think they're just as worried as anybody about going too slow and missing out. And so they need help.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And that's what we're here for. Ultimately, we're here to help them achieve their goals.
Right.
And, it also helps us drive better innovation within our company. So it's
100%.
great. So AI is a technology that we all know is going so fast, it can't even keep up with itself. Was there any situation where you had to kind of make a decision between being right versus being fast? And if so, what was that?
Yeah, so I don't know that I've got a specific example, but I do love a cliche that I heard. I like cliches because they make not so smart people seem a little smarter. But the bottom line is that done is better than perfect. And I think that that's always been the case, that whole cliche around analysis paralysis.
Yeah, right.
But I think in today's AI-driven age, the whole concept of failing fast is okay. Because what you will ultimately fail if you don't move.
Right.
And so I think right now it's a question of, let's get this done and let's make some decisions. And again, I could talk about the things that we're doing in the partner org. Have we launched the perfect program? No.
Right.
But we've launched a program that has the bones to really evolve over time. And so we can learn what we didn't do well, but then we've got the infrastructure in place to do it better as we evolve.
Absolutely. And I love what you said about failure, because I will tell you that with a lot of the podcasts that I've done, a lot of the leaders have always talked about this notion of not only failing fast, but how failure is an important part of our own progress and getting to the right place. So I think it's a really critical thing to be okay to fail.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this, and again, some 25 plus years in the field sales organization, I am far more motivated by the deals that I lost than the deals that I won. I think about some of those all the time. Right. And I think about what could I have done differently. And, my take on it is I'm very proud to be, a Cisconian. Yeah. I don't think we should ever lose. And so when I lose, I take it very personally. Absolutely. But it motivates me to learn and to pull in resources that can help me be better the next time.
Given your experience and from your perspective in your role, if you were a Cisco partner starting from scratch today, trying to figure out where to place your bets, what are the first three things that new partner should do?
Yeah, so let me give you two technology answers and then the most important answer.
Okay.
So if I were a new partner, I would invest heavily in my ability to comprehend AI and how I bring value in the AI era.
Okay.
There's no doubt that you need to be able to do that. I would focus heavily on secure networking. It is what Cisco brings to the table, I think, in a very unique way that we can package and sell and fuse networking and security together. So that's sort of the technology foundation. Sure. And the third answer, what I mentioned might be the most important one, is relationships. And we've talked a great deal about what Cisco brings to the table. Some 19, 20,000 people in the field, some 90,000 across the world in the whole company. Our partners employ more than 500,000 people. What a force multiplier is the intimate relationships that our partners have. And I would always encourage a partner to recognize that the most important thing they bring to the table is their relationships with the end users. So I would definitely double down on that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's all about relationships and in everything we do in life. I mean, you've got to be able to, have these connections to people that help you drive business and drive everything else.
Absolutely agree.
So I've heard a rumor that you love sports, which is great, and oil, which are obviously very competitive landscapes in their own right. Is there something to be learned from your loves of those two different fields that have helped you in your role as the lead of our global partner system?
Okay, so I do love both of them. And we could use a lot of time telling about oil stories.
Okay.
But what I love about both of those things, and they're both businesses in some way, is that they're both functionally around teams.
Right.
You can't drill a well by yourself.
Right.
You can't win a game by yourself. I think it's that interconnectivity. Everybody does their job, but it's for the greater good. And I think back to my days. Early on in the oil field, when I was working and realizing that, finishing my degree and moving into tech sales might be a whole lot more fun than that. But I recognized that everybody depended on one another in a very unique way, in a dangerous environment. And on the flip side of that, sports. I mean, it's there are individual sports, of course, but team sports is what I've always been drawn to because everybody has to do their job.
Absolutely.
And in the partner organization, I've talked a lot about our job is to help deals move forward and help our partners be more profitable. Everybody has a role in that. If you're in legal or finance or operations, certainly in sales or engineering, everybody can help a deal get 1 day or 1 hour closer to closure. And that's part of what being a great team is about. So I think that's why those two things appeal to me.
Yeah.
And the oil business works well with my accent. So
That's right. No, I think it's a really good point. And actually, even with the individual sports, let's say tennis, right, or something like that, or golf, there's such a often forgotten element of the behind the scenes.
The team
folks,
behind them,
right?
yeah.
So I think the teamwork is really, really, really essential.
Yeah.
And of course, at the time of this recording, for anyone who's watching / listening, Super Bowl just happened within the last week. It was kind of late for us here, in Amsterdam. But did you get the chance to watch any of that, or was it just too late?
I exercised some rare discipline in my life, and I did not watch the game because I wanted to be sharp for our partners and customers here in Amsterdam.
Got it.
But I did get the recap and watch the replays, so it was good.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, it was good. So you talked about the Partners 360 program, which was recently launched. So I know that there hasn't been a ton of time that's passed, but as you look back on it, what are you hoping partners will say about it? Or what are you hearing now, and what you're hoping that people will say in the future?
I think what our great hope is for the program is that we've shown our partners a very clear path to matching their capabilities and their investment with their profitability.
Okay.
I mean, because here's the bottom line. I'm not ashamed of the fact that we're in business to make money for our shareholders and our, support our families, and that's okay.
Right.
But I think there's more to it than that. When we show a path to profitability, we show a path to investment in the success of our common customers. And so I think when I look back, I think 360 will be that foundation that allows our partners to say, if I do this, I can do this, and then the result will be that. And I think that's really powerful when you can show somebody a path to their own success. And I think 360 is that foundation for us.
And it's exciting. I can't wait to see how it evolves over time and talk to you again in the future to see where it's been.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm so proud of the team that put that together. That I came to this team just 6 months ago,
right? And
the work that went into making that happen and making it a reality, the team should be very proud. They did an incredible job.
That's great, and just shows again why teamwork is such an important thing for everybody. Right. Well, Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I had a great time with this conversation, and I hope we can do it again in the future.
AB, I'd love that. My pleasure.
Take care.
Thanks.